Okay, let's fly through this together, I guess. Are you ready?
Yep.
We're going to call the Berlin School Committee meeting of February 9th.
19th.
I'm sorry,
Oh, 9th.
February
I'm
9th.
looking at January 19th, sorry.
Time's already fine. February 9th, 2011 to order. We're in the process of approving the payables and payroll warrants. We'll move on to the consent agenda of the open meeting minutes for January 19th. Do we have a couple changes, but you probably caught them.
Yeah, maybe, I just caught one.
Okay.
But you want motion to approve the January 19th meeting minutes?
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
That's the only one I found.
Okay.
Was the,
On page 2 at the top, we have a vote 2-0, which should be 2-1. And I believe on page 3, and you guys can verify it, I think it's not Mary Ryan, I believe it's Mary Reddington. Is that correct? Is that the correct name?
I believe
Do you know
that
Mary
might be
Reddington? Was it Mary Reddington?
which one?
Page 3,
Under number 6.
number 6, third bullet down, Mary Ryan of Berlin, and I think it's Mary Reddington.
It is Reddington, yeah. Mary
Okay.
was definitely.
Yeah, just one, and not everybody.
You're pretty good. I know. And you can make them up if you don't know them. I'm just kidding.
Okay, given those changes, I will ask for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Move on to the communications to the chair. There were several communications that I wanted to acknowledge regarding the kindergarten full-day program. I received communications from Gina Cranford, Kim Dunkelberg, Susan Chilsam, Janet Lammy, and Brian Murphy. And I apologize if I murdered anybody's name there. The other communications we received was from Liz Mitchell, Maureen Norvold, and Eloise Sauls. Did you guys get all of those?
I think so.
Eloise.
You got Eloise?
I did not.
You did not?
No.
You should have gotten it today, I believe.
No, I didn't get that one either. This
Okay.
one from Eloise.
Yeah.
Okay, I will get you copies of them.
Thank you.
Did you not receive this in the mail? It was snail mail. Somebody actually does snail mail still.
No,
No, I didn't get that.
I didn't get that.
Okay. You didn't get it in the mail either? Because that's how I received it. I didn't
Well, I
receive
see
it by
that.
email. Okay. And also we had I see her in the audience, Samantha Brown. Did you want to read your submission of communication?
You want me to?
Sure.
I did find Eloise's in the packet.
Oh, you did, okay.
I wrote a petition, and 318 kids at my school signed it. It says, "We, the students and faculty of Tohoto, wish to express our concerns for the future of our school next year with the absence of our superintendent, Dr. Brian McDermott. We feel that he did an excellent job bringing the school community together and feel that Tohoto has a brighter future if he were to stay. The Berlin School Board can hopefully work harder together to reach an understanding and agreement and work with him on making a better school. We're hoping that he would reconsider his resignation and stay with us for a few more years."
Thank you, Samantha. And I believe that's all the communications that we have received, and hopefully we've acknowledged all of them. And we will move on to the kindergarten presentation. We're going to pull that up because we do have a FinCom meeting at 7:30. They're going to be coming to our meeting. So we're taking that out of order. I hope that's all right with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
So we're turning.
It just has to warm on it.
Okay.
Let's see, anything else we can?
Do we have a CPAC report?
For me.
Not from you. Okay, we might have to do that later too then. about that. I didn't give you guys enough lead time.
We'll sign warrants.
What's that?
We'll sign warrants in
Okay.
the meantime.
So you did get all these communications? And
I
there's
did
just-
now, but I haven't had a chance to really read them all.
Actually, if I could just have 2 seconds.
Sure.
There were some other communications that were not received. Betsy Esselbacher, Lisa Sequeira, Sandra Pendergast, Lisa Dorr, and Carolyn McDonald that were also received by the Berlin School Committee that we did not acknowledge at the last meeting. So we appreciate those communications. And we'll turn it over to our kindergarten teachers from Berlin Memorial.
Do our best to make it work for everyone.
First,
Sure.
sorry.
We wanted to say first and foremost, thank you all for coming. For those of you who weren't able to attend the last meeting, just so you know, we did present the same PowerPoint in an abbreviated, well, this will be an abbreviated version. We did present the same PowerPoint at Berlin Memorial School a couple of weeks ago, but tonight, in the interest of time, we wanted to shorten it a little bit for you. We are here today to discuss why moving our current half-day program to a free full-day program is the best way to support all of our children's needs. Our hope is to give them the gift of time. Time for the social, emotional, and academic growth that they both need and deserve. That's just not possible in a half-day setting. Children need this time at school in order to be prepared for not only first grade, but all the grade levels beyond. During our PowerPoint presentation, we will show you the data behind our beliefs and how a full-day kindergarten program has given the full-day children at Berlin Memorial School an advantage when compared to the half-day students. Just to read the quote at the bottom, kindergarten should be offered on a level playing field as an enriching, free, full-day experience for all the state's children. So our goal as educators. Oh, sure. Our goal as educators is to offer a free full-day kindergarten experience for all of our children at Berlin Memorial School, hopefully beginning in the fall of 2011. This will allow all children, no matter what their family's financial situation, the opportunity to receive a free full-day kindergarten education. Here we just wanted to show you briefly the full-day experience compared to a half-day experience, particularly at Berlin Memorial School, and what can happen with more time. The half-day, I'll go through that. It's down the left-hand column. We get 3 hours a day, which is a total of 15 hours a week at school. We have no workboard activities. The full day has this. This is where a large amount of academic instruction and practice occurs. Our learning time is cut short daily because of time constraints. Most work is completed the following day. This takes away from academic activities that we've already scheduled. This creates a snowball effect where not all work can be completed over weeks and months. Some units that are missed in the half-day program, just for example, are migration, birds, an in-depth study of hibernation, looking at colors, etc.
The full-day classroom, we have 6.5 hours a day, a total of 32.5 hours a week, which is actually 17.5 more hours of school each week for the full-day students. They have 10 to 20-minute specials that are longer than the half-day class. They have more time to practice writing, reading, and social time. This gives all students, including struggling children who need it the most, the time for reinforcement of all academic skills, as well as time to build on social emotional skills. And we have time to do a more in-depth study and practice for the mastery of lessons and units.
This is a little bit more information when comparing full day to half day at our school. Half day this year only has time for recess 15 minutes once a week. The majority of the half day students do not get choice time each day. This is not enough time for 5 and 6-year-olds to acquire the play skills, form peer relationships through social interactions, and to problem solve and learn through play. These are all important activities that help a child to develop critical problem solving skills. We also have, it ends up being a working snack. I never plan for work at snack. It should be a time where kids can relax and talk amongst themselves and eat. Unfortunately, with the morning work that we do, the majority of children have work left over from the morning time, so they are eating a little bit and doing a little work and kind of alternating.
The full-day students have 2 15-minute recesses per day, which is a total of 2.5 hours per week. Students have 30 minutes of star time. Star time is a time for rest. It also gives them time to practice reading. They might have more time to complete work assignments that they haven't finished, or work with a teacher one-on-one for extra practice, or to complete assessments that we need to do. It's a less hurried, more relaxed atmosphere where the kids have more time to complete their work. There are many programs and activities missed by the half-day students at BMS because many of our programs happen in the afternoon. They are always asked to come back, but for most times it's hard for the parents to get them back to the school for these activities. So some of the activities we listed was the Veterans Day program, holiday concerts, an Afro-Brazilian show that Link had sponsored, I believe, the Memorial Day celebration, a first grade play that will be coming up, anti-bullying assemblies, which is now mandated by the state as part of the school's social curriculum, any additional half-day afternoon programs, and if there is a 2-hour delay, the half-day children miss the entire day of school. Benefits for students that attend the full-day program. They have increased opportunity to develop strong literacy skills, social skills, and a positive self-image. Increased practice time for reinforcement of skills and concepts taught in the classroom. Provides more time for center work, constructive play, and social interactions. There's an increased likelihood that learning difficulties will be identified earlier and acted upon. Stronger connection with the school community. More consistent schedule for children, which reduces the ratio of transition times to class time, which reduces the stress for the children. And there's tends to be a smoother transition to first grade because they've adapted to that second half of the day.
Benefits that teachers have. It allows more opportunities to work with one-to-one with children who are struggling or need additional challenges. Increased opportunity to utilize powerful teaching approaches that require extended periods of time. There's the increased opportunity to develop stronger relationships with the children and their families. There's more time to determine and to address individual students' learning challenges. There's increased time to provide a less hurried learning environment. And there's more flexibility in planning the school day. This is some data that we took from our students at Berlin Memorial School that just are an example that supports the research that we have shown you tonight. What this is a chart that looks at, it's the current first grade class. It breaks down, the left column is the half-day students and their reading levels for the end of the year. Excuse me, for last year. This is last springtime for the kindergarten, so these were when they were in kindergarten. The right column shows the first grade, sorry, it's the same class, the full day students' reading levels. We highlighted in yellow the reading level that students are expected to be at by the end of kindergarten. If you look on the left with the half-day, where the half-day students were, you had at a level C, that's the expected level by the end of kindergarten. We had 2 students on a level C, 2 on a B, 1 on an A, and we had 1 on a J. And then if you look to the right, the full-day students, we had 8 students at a level C, which is the expected level for that time of year, 6 at a level E, So again, when you look at the data, I mean, this is real data that we have, and we were, wanted to show this to you. It's from our students at our school. It really does speak to the fact that children who participate in full-day programs made statistically significant gains in early reading skills by the end of the kindergarten year, which is, as the quote is saying, when compared to their peers who attended half-day.
This is a writing sample. Rachel and I, at the end of the year, do a writing. It's almost like a writing prompt, but it's not. It's when I grow up, I want to be. So the student on the left is from the half-day class. The student on the right is the full-day classroom. And some of the differences, the one on the left says, when I grow up, I want to be a soldier. I will fight because I would be fighting for my country. You can see that the spacing is inconsistent. He or she mostly used uppercase letters. The spelling isn't as accurate as the one on the right-hand side. The one on the right, the spacing is pretty good for the words. It says, when I grow up, I want to be a roller skating teacher because I am good at it. Sentence structure, it begins with an uppercase letter. There's mostly upper with lowercase letters following it. There's punctuation at the end of the sentence. The spelling is more phonetically accurate. And most of the sight words are spelled correctly as well. So that was just one of the examples we wanted to show. In closing, there is absolutely no debate about the value of full-day kindergarten. Everybody agrees that the full day is educationally superior. The only question has been, when does it happen and how does it happen? Change is hard because people overestimate the value of what they have and underestimate the value of what they may gain by giving that up. Those are two quotes that we thought were fitting. We would like to again thank you and hope you will move the district forward by investing in a free, full-day kindergarten program for all of our children. As a school, we agree with the ideology that all children can learn. With this said, we must give all children, no matter their economic status, a chance to do so in a full-day kindergarten classroom. Thank you.
Thank you. Carol?
Yeah, and Ruth, I do have a letter here from Brian that he asked me to read on behalf of him tonight, and also for myself as I read through this. I think it expresses what both of us share as far as the vision for this full-day free kindergarten. Dear Berlin School Committee members and members of the Berlin community, I apologize for not being in attendance tonight. Nevertheless, I wanted to be sure to communicate that I am in full support of the creation of a full-day kindergarten program for free. Early childhood includes some of the most important years of a child's development and of a student's entire educational career. Regardless of where children are developmentally, each child will benefit from a full-day kindergarten program. Even though full-day kindergarten is not required by the state of Massachusetts, funding is available once the program is in place. So we only have to invest in the first year, and after that, these students are counted as part of the full-day student count in the foundation budget. In Berlin Memorial, we are fortunate to be able to have the funds to support this one-year investment. As the educators who are responsible for recommending what we believe will provide the best educational program for all students, we believe that full-day kindergarten will not only benefit these young, rapidly growing children in these early childhood years, but will benefit all of them for many years to come. So I recommend that the school committee support this request, and thanks to all the teachers and administrators for all the work they did to bring this proposal and recommendation to your attention. Sincerely, Brian McDermott.
School committee have any questions?
So when we saw this presentation before, I recall that there was an option that parents could decide if they wanted their children to go for a full day or a half day. Is that still?
What we're proposing are 2 full-day kindergarten classes. Parents do have an option to take their children out half the day because kindergarten is not a mandatory program. So you can certainly take your children out if you choose to do so.
Okay. And is there busing or anything?
There would not be busing.
Okay.
Is Is the curriculum, how easily can it be organized such that a half-day student would get the most important things in the beginning of the day?
I think, Chris, that is, how do I say, the sticking point here, in that if this goes to a full day for both classes, the curriculum will follow it won't be centered around the children who are only there for half day. It will expand throughout the day. So there may be problems reaching specials if we have to schedule a special in the afternoon, or a science class, or a math class that may take place in the afternoon rather than a morning. It may be some days the math class is in the morning, some days it's in the afternoon. The curriculum, the program will be structured around that full day opportunity. That's the reason we're trying to do this. I think in trying to tailor it all to we're shortchanging the children again, because we're saying, well, if we're trying to stuff everything in a half day and then have the afternoon, we create almost like a childcare situation. It's a daycare. You know, we're not moving forward, and that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to move the children forward with so much curriculum that we have to address, with so much opportunity for that time children have to practice, and that's what we're looking for. That longer period of time to do math, or to do reading, or to do writing. So if we try to do that, we're just creating it's the same scenario. So I don't want to, perhaps we misled folks to believe that it would look exactly the same as the half day, and the afternoon would be an expanded opportunity, but it's not that.
I hear what you're saying. There must be a happy medium, though, where you could try to, we do things such as differentiated instruction for different kids. And I think once you get to know the kids, you might know that it would be better if you could try to get the math program in the morning for all the kids, because this child may be leaving at noon. I can say that it really is a parent decision if we were to do this, to vote for the full day kindergarten, and it would be their option to bring or to pick up their child at noontime or whenever. I think you do have to look sort of at the individual children too, and what's best for them, and as a team with parents, try to. I'm not saying do like we've done before, where you have everything in the morning and then do the daycare type thing in the afternoon. But there's got to be a little bit of a happy medium at least.
I think I'd have to say that my teachers are always looking at the individual children. Every single moment of the day that they're there and beyond that. We're looking at the individual children. That's what we're advocating for, that individual child, each one of them, to have that opportunity to learn and have that gift of time. We're also looking at all of the children and giving them that opportunity. When we ask for a free full day, we're not excluding children because their families can't afford that opportunity. We're not excluding children who, because if this one class fills up, those other children do not have that opportunity for the same education that they are forced to go to a half-day program. We're choosing not to exclude the children who move into this community in August to start the school year because they happen to come late and they missed out. By providing this, we level the playing field for all of the children. And then again, if families choose not to have their children in for that full amount of time, that's their choice. I respect that decision, just as I do respect decisions for families to homeschool, to move their children to other schools because they feel they're better educations. I recognize that parents need to ultimately make the decision for their children's education, but I have to advocate tonight for the best interests of all my children, all of our youngest learners, and each individual child and their families.
Any other questions from the committee?
Do you
I had
I didn't read the communications. Maybe
We're going to allow them
okay.
to make comments.
I have another quick question.
Yeah.
So if we had the half-day option, is it possible, I know, like if we did, let's say if math was they looked at math every day at 1 o'clock, the half-day students would always miss math. Is it possible, and just looking for a solution to this, because I agree with you 100%, I don't think any child should not be able to come due to a public school program due to a financial burden. I think that's terrible. But there are parents who really are wanting to keep their children home for the half-day option. Is there any way of, doing most of the subjects in the morning and then getting to the intense portion in the afternoon? So they all get, some science in the morning, maybe some science in the afternoon, some math in the morning, some math in the afternoon, and the children that choose to stay for the full day will get the added benefit of that, but the other children aren't missing out.
I think what Rachel was trying to describe is if you have the math in the morning every day and you have the ELA every day, that's really what she's currently doing.
Okay.
But she's not even at that point able to expand or give the children more time to grasp concepts or to practice concepts. So I think I think it's difficult when you're trying to do that, because even if you planned those during the day, or you planned a part and then gave the children who stayed on more of that opportunity, you're still creating a disadvantage for those children who are not choosing to stay on. It's still an imbalance of what they're getting versus what the other children are getting.
Would there be a rotation of subjects, in the sense that, let's say I chose to put my child in half day? Could we structure the program so that, like, they had math at least once a week and science once a week, so that they weren't missing out on math all the time? If they did the half day Jill,
You
yeah.
still yeah.
They're
jumping out of their seat.
Like the workboard that we had talked about 2 weeks ago, the workboard is like a practice time for things that they've learned. So they'll always get that practice piece to reinforce what has been taught. So for those students that may have missed it in the afternoon, we might have to pull them aside and kind of review with them.
Or finish, or give them more time.
But they'd still get that additional practice.
Yeah, I'm very passionate about teaching, and I just, it's on TV. So, I give you my word, and I said this at the last meeting at our school, and it's about the children, and I will absolutely do my best. I will rotate. I will do whatever I need to do. The kids in the first, if they choose to come, the first half of the day, I've done this for 2 years, and we'll make it work. And I guarantee you, I will not exclude them from science every week, and they absolutely won't miss math. That's not fair either, and that's not what we want to do. And that wouldn't be okay with me. So I just want to let you know that. Emotional, not emotional. I'm sorry. This is about all the children, and I would hate for any parents to feel that their kids weren't getting. Sorry. Unexpected. But I'm absolutely going to rotate the schedule and make sure.
I can understand your passion.
Yeah.
I really can.
No, don't be sorry.
The reality is, it's very difficult to do that. I know Rachel wants to make that work, and she'll do everything she can, but I don't want to put that on the table as a promise that that's going to happen, because we're still, if she does that 3 times a week, then the other 2 days, it's still not as much as the other class might be getting. It's just still, again, there's always that imbalance, and it seems to be complicating the situation so much more than it needs to.
It may actually be that it would be particular years where maybe next year there will be a lot of parents who are thinking about only doing the half day. The next year it may be that every single person wants a whole day, and
And I worry about that, Chris, because then we make a decision, with all due respect, around the population of parents, and not around what we need for children to learn in the 21st century. Truly, we keep it. So if I felt that way, I'd say, let's take it off the table and we'll wait till another year. Maybe I'll get all the parents to say yes, but it might not work in year 2014, so we better get it in this. to me, that's not, I'm just going to feel this way now, and I'm going to feel this way in 2020, because I know it's not a feeling I have. It's research-based. It's truly educationally the sound decision to make for our youngest learners. And we've got to get on board. We're part, we look at the United States and where we're at, and all our global positioning with education. We have an opportunity here. I mean, we have an opportunity to be at the forefront, because you know what, down the road, we either can take the initiative to do this now, or we're going to have it done to us. So we can either be proactive in doing this, because in a couple of years from now, the state's going to do this. And we're going to be sitting back, and I don't know what our financial situation is going to look like. We may be struggling for funding at that point. We can wait, but it's going to happen one way or the other. You can decide to make it happen now, and we can be proactive, put these good things in place now and be at the forefront, or we can sit back and go for the ride and wait. It's up to you.
Could we open it up to any audience members that would like to make a comment? And if you could just state your name, please.
It's Tressian.
Sure.
Oh.
Wow.
My name is Gina Cranford. Nice to meet all of you.
Nice to meet you.
Most of you on the phone. I am an early childhood educator. I work with little ones 0 to 5, so I work with this age group all the time. So I'm not just coming from a perspective of the fact that I do have a kindergartner about to enter kindergarten in the fall. And the first thing I want to say is that, first of all, Rachel, you know that I love you to death. You're like the best teacher that I've ever could have come down the pike. So please do not take anything. This is not about any of that. Full day kindergarten free is wonderful. I think it's absolutely wonderful. I can't say, I'm not here to say anything bad against that. But I feel so strongly, I'm probably going to cry, because I feel so strongly about this. The need to keep a comprehensive, complete half-day program in this town. At this age, the difference between the children of the same age can be huge. Most of you have had children, and you know that. Children may be emotionally unready to be separated from their parents for that long, especially those of, there was one child in the half day last year. She turned 5 the day before school started. My child napped every single day for at least an hour, and I poured him into that bed. It was like I couldn't even get lunch into him. And so just want to mention that there are children who there are physical reasons why they may not need to be at school for the whole day. I know that children learn best through play, and I know that the proposal is that children will be playing more at school. But I believe that they need to have more unstructured play time, away from the 4 walls of the classroom. And if they're in school from, let's see, the bus picks them up at 7:45 and they get home at 3:30, that doesn't leave a lot of time for unstructured play. And there's a lot of research that says that they've presented a lot of research, but there is a lot of research that says that unstructured play is the best way for children to learn at that age. And the current half-day program is perfect for those who need it. They get the social learning piece, they get art, music, gym, computers, they get the academic piece. My son entered kindergarten reading a few words. He went into 1st grade reading at an end of 1st grade, beginning of 2nd grade reading level. And that was all from Rachel, that was not from me at home. He got all that he needed. He got the math, he got everything he needed. He was ready. And that's what he needed. And he needed to nap. He needed to nap. He could not have done it. He could not have done it. And that doesn't seem fair. I've heard and I read in the paper, children adapt to full day, and they do fine in full day. Well, what does that mean? Is that developmentally appropriate for you to expect that every single child is ready to do that? Can they? Absolutely, they can do it. You can make them be in that classroom and they're doing it. But is that right? Are they going to come home at the end of the day and have tantrums, like my child is now having at the end of 1st grade, because he's having trouble? I know it would happen at the end of kindergarten, and I don't feel that it's appropriate for everybody. Give us the choice. We need to have that choice. I moved here to the town of Berlin in part because of the school, and I tell everybody I know how wonderful BMS is and how amazing the kindergarten program is. At least I used to. Now, if there isn't a true half-day program, I am going to have to look at school choice at other towns, the towns that still have a comprehensive, wonderful, beautiful half-day program. And I know that Berlin is not interested in taking that $5,000 from both of my children, who I will now need to move to another town so that my children are together. And it just makes me so sad to think that this is happening. Again, full day is wonderful, but it's not for everybody. I really, truly, in my heart, believe that it is not for everybody. I respectfully ask the school committee to vote no on this proposal unless there is a true comprehensive half-day option, because I don't think that it's right for all children. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Hi, Suzanne Clisham from Berlin. I'm in agreement. I think a full-day program is fantastic for those who are ready for it. I think that Rachel has done a terrific job with my son in a half-day program. I just don't think that all children are ready emotionally and physically to go through a full program. My son last year certainly could not have. He was one of the younger children in the class, and he did nap every day as well. After hearing the proposal, I did go back home and think about it, and I don't like the option to just pull your child out. I think there needs to be a comprehensive program for those that stay in, because while we're not being fair to children who can't afford a full day, we're not being fair to the children who are not ready if there's not a program comprehensive. And I know Rachel would do a terrific job trying to manage that, but it's not just about my own child, it's about the community as well. My child's not the only one that's going to have these issues. Also, I have read many articles from Harvard Educational Review, from CNN, from the Boston Globe, from the New York Times, where they truly show that open-ended play is a way where our world's innovators and creative thinkers and business leaders who are able to think out of the box as adults have had these chances not to be just thrown into a curriculum every day before they were ready for it. In addition, I just think that it's important socially for them as well to have that half-day experience, whether it's implemented into the full-day kindergarten class, but where as a group they feel a community sense that, you know, we're all together in this as well. It's important for their emotional development and their social development. And I think it's fantastic to offer it for all children, but there comes a time when some children are not truly ready for it yet. And it's a fantastic incremental way for them to adjust to the world of school. For those that aren't ready for it. So I guess that's, I know there's a lot of differences between them entering into first grade, not in all children, in some, and I've seen that. However, almost all the articles and the studies that I have read have showed that this fades out by the time they come to third grade. Some articles said fourth grade, but that fade out period happens. So why is it so important to push those that aren't ready for a full day earlier on? And I think there should be a full 3-day program as well. I think the teachers have reasons and the community have a reason for it, but I just wish there could be a comprehensive program to stay implemented in the school.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Linda Murphy.
Hi, Linda.
So Brian wrote the note to you. Although I can certainly respect what they're saying, I'm actually for the full-day program. My children happen to be ready. I think all three of them really would benefit from getting into a full-day kindergarten program. So, I don't mind having a half day and a full day, and that's fine. Free full day is wonderful, having 3 going into the program. My only concern is if we do keep a half day is the balance between the 2 classes, and would there really be enough room in the full day? And have you done any surveys about how many people would still want the half day compared to how many people would still want the full day?
Could you answer that, Carol?
We don't have a survey on that currently. We haven't had our informational night, but we do have approximately 40 students that would be coming in this year. So,
Okay.
So you're thinking like 2020?
Very big classes.
Very big.
Yeah.
Which we're excited about. It's nice to have a
Right.
big,
Right.
it is.
What, I believe that the vote is down in the business items of the agenda. And the FinCom is here. Sometimes it's, I know we've had the presentation and we've had time to think about it. Would the audience indulge us of allowing the FinCom to come and talk and kind of let all this information digest? Still have the vote this evening, but just down into the business items. If you wouldn't mind, I don't know if the teachers would like to stay or, they'd be free to go unless there's other questions that we have.
Can I just say one more thing that I just forgot to say before?
Sure.
There is another option. Concord and Newton and a few other towns in the state have gone to full day, 3 full days, 2 half days, and some of them have done 2 full days. It's not always exactly the same, but that is an option. They still get the grant money from the state. And I just wanted to mention that. It doesn't have to be all day every day. And then the other thing I wanted to say is that Peasley School in Northborough last year did a full day program with a half day inserted in it, and I know parents whose children were there, and it was highly successful. Everyone was happy, and they let the children choose at the half-year point if they wanted to join the full day program. So it's another option. There are other options
Kind of like a graduated.
there besides just a half day and a full day. So.
Okay, thank you. Is that okay with you? Do you feel comfortable doing that with the agenda?
Mm-hmm.
Are you okay with that?
Sure. Once parents and audiences are okay with it.
Okay. So we're going to table this discussion and move on to the finance report from John Roy, and the FinCom is here, I believe, to meet with us. I'm sure this is okay with you. Okay. Give me a chance to kind of think about it, let it settle in my head.
Right. And I wish I did have the survey.
How you doing?
Front row for it.
Yeah. No stuff on today, at least. I haven't seen her. We're ready for you.
We'll start out with the Finance Committee and the Berlin Memorial School FY12 budget request at this point. For the Finance Committee in their files, it's the first couple of sheets. And I've included for you this evening also for the Finance Committee only, the Tohoto budget that we presented at the region last night for your information. This is very preliminary at this point. It reflects information we have available. Definitely a lot of work to continue doing it at this stage. Currently, the FY12 budget request, total expenses, about 2/3 of the way down the page, $3,014,000. That compares to $2,008,000 last year. It's a $201,700 increase, or 7.5%. Primarily due to special ed out-of-district tuitions. We had no out-of-district tuitions this fiscal year, and we have several out-of-district tuitions budgeted for the next fiscal year. That's an increase of $135,699, which represents a 5% increase. So out of the expense increase of 7.5%, 5% is special education. One of the things I have to say about that is those numbers are preliminary and are conservative on the high side. The placements haven't been determined at this point in time, and I know that Judy Valancourt, PPS Director, is working to identify the placements and the most cost-effective manner, and we're very hopeful that that number will come down. But unfortunately, at this point in time, we don't have any specifics that would allow us to do that, so we're erring on the side of caution and conservatism. School revenues, not much change from the current year, 141,000 compared to slightly under 122. It's roughly a $19,000 reduction. Special ed circuit breaker, which is the special ed reimbursements, that's down about $6,700. And then one-time foundation reserve, or quote-unquote pothole grant money of $13,000 was used for the FY11. The state's not funding that program. They haven't for several years. We had some funds available, or we used them for the FY11 budget, but that's not available for FY12. Total town appropriation for this fiscal year was $2,671,000. Currently, with the proposed requested budget, it's $2,892,873, or $221,000 above the FY11 level. That's a 8.29% increase. On the next page, second page, we take that town appropriation, and there's a couple of things that we're still working on, and decisions need to be made. Some of those are the grants available to us and how to most effectively utilize them for the budget. We have some special ed entitlement grant money, a little under $26,000, some rural schools grant money, a little under 34. Ed Jobs grant, around 22. The Ed Jobs is one of those, again, it's kind of a federal stimulus, 2-year. This was the first year. Next year is the last year. So whatever we fund out of that, those funds won't be available for the year after. And then the application of the full-day kindergarten grant, $8,200. So if we apply 100% of the grants to the budget increase at this point, the increase would be $130,987, so that would bring it down significantly. Another area we're looking at is proposing a new revolving fund. We've got several students that are attending Berlin Memorial because of a special ed program. So we would like to look and request the school committee, which I'll be doing later, to adopt the Mass General Law, which would allow a revolving fund established for non-resident tuitions. That would allow us to put that tuition money aside and apply it directly to the expenses for those students. So thus, that would allow us to reduce the request of the town. So the other towns whose children are coming in, they're paying us a tuition. We can use that tuition to pay their costs. That would further reduce the increase request of the town to $105,787. Some potential budget impacts that aren't quite focused yet. There may be a need to add 1 FTE for an ABA tech. That's dependent upon student IEP, the team meetings. Hasn't been in the parent acceptance. It hasn't been finalized, but if that does come, that'll add another almost $24,000. We'll have to add a position. We have maybe a returning teacher who's been out on leave. That's an unknown because we don't know yet if the person is returning. If they do return, they're returning full-time, they're returning part-time. So we're not sure yet if what's going on there. We listed it as an unknown because we obviously don't know what impact that may have. So that's yet to come into focus. Special ed out-of-district tuitions, as I just indicated, it was a worst-case scenario. Excuse me, what the reduction may be, we don't know. So that's another unknown that we don't know at this point in time. The financial impact of implementing a full-day kindergarten program on the budget. A benefit will be elimination of the midday kindergarten bus. That would save the school $15,852. It would result in the addition of half of a teacher's salary, $25,238. A second class would be another half of a teacher who was in the full-day program and was currently getting paid out of the tuitions. So that would add $39,000. And then a portion of the aid salary that's being paid from the tuitions also previously would be added into the budget. So the budget increase would be $51,079 from the impact of the full day. But then the funding that the district has identified is some school choice funds that would be used in the first year as an investment in the full-day program, which would offset that $51,000. So at this point here, the increase above the town appropriation level fund, which was what our hoped goal was, we'd stand $129,000 above the current year town appropriation. But obviously, there's a number of unknowns that have yet to be identified and need to come into focus. So it's the first pass at the budget. There's still plenty of work to do to come back to the school committee with a budget we would recommend to go to town meeting. But at this point in time, that's where we stand with the FY12 budget.
Okay, going back to the new proposed revolving fund.
Yep.
Now, this would just be taking funds that the town is already receiving, but you're putting into a revolving account that's basically earmarked directly towards you, as opposed to it just coming directly as a Chapter 70 money.
No, it's not Chapter 70.
Not Chapter 70, but in that, it's coming from the state.
No, it's not.
Whereas
It's coming from the sending community.
Right, from the sending,
Yeah.
from the sending community, but it's on the cherry sheet.
Yep. No, it's not.
It's not on the cherry sheet?
It's a direct payment from the community.
It's direct payment from the
Yep,
community.
direct payment from the community.
Where is it going now?
When it, I think, how many years we have? 1 year? 2 years? Goes right into the general fund.
It's going into the general
Yeah.
fund.
So we figured that rather than doing that, we would specifically earmark it for those costs of the tuitions to the cost of providing the services to the students.
So basically, I mean, overall, it's not a increase in revenue, it'd be just directly going towards the school as opposed to going specifically to the town.
Well, it's kind of like right now, we ask you for it and we give it back to you. So this way here, it's kind of more of a direct correlation to, you know, we would reduce the costs out and pull them aside and put them in a revolving fund. So, you know, you're not funding it and we're not funding it and going around in circles, but, you know, it just seemed like it would allow us to reduce the increase request to you.
But in the end, it's basically a wash.
Yeah.
Now, on BMS, everything looks like just talk about the full-day kindergarten, increasing headcount. There's actually any changes in that headcount for the, looking at in FY12?
Excuse me?
Overall headcount, talking about half full-time education teacher on that course, another
Yeah,
half.
From the implementation of the full-day program, it's existing staff. The half-time teacher would be an increase because she's the half-time program now. The other one is the full-time person, except the tuition is paying for half her salary, the other half's in the budget. So in terms of FTEs for the teacher increase, it would basically be a half. Because the other one is already full-time, just simply be paying half tuition, half budget.
Okay.
So that's just reallocating to within the budget. The other person would be an increase of a half-time.
Okay, it would be overall an
Yeah,
increase
of a half.
of people that are there.
Yeah. Same people, just time-wise would be a half addition. And again, with the aid, there's no increase because the aid's existing now, just paid from the tuition. Scott, I've also provided to you in the school committee the second budget worksheet, which is explanation of increases and decreases. Kind of gives you the detail, ties out to that cover sheet, explains the increases and what's gone up, what's gone down in each of those categories. So you kind of know what changes were made. Other than the special ed out of district, which obviously is the most significant increase, because out of 7.5%, it represents 5%. The next increase, instructional, is 1.6% increase, which is not a lot, but anything right now is significant. It's a $42,930 increase for instruction, made up of those different items. The detail is spelled out within the budget. For professional salaries, it includes teacher steps, lanes, and longevity. one of the things that's important to know is there's no cost of living built into this budget at this point in time.
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask, is right now, the union contract will be up at, right, because it was only a 1 year
It's
that
up,
was
yep.
done for being
Yep, so it's being negotiated.
It's being negotiated,
Yep,
and
or
the
will be
assumption right now
negotiated.
is a 0% COLA.
Right now, in terms of where the budget stands, in this iteration, there's no COLA in it.
Okay.
At this point. We've determined that if we, just kind of as a benchmark, if we were utilized 2% COLA, that would result in approximately a $47,000 increase.
40,000.
47,
47.
above where we're at now. Is anything else, Scott, in the specifics? You want to move on to the region?
Do you have any questions? No, we move on to the region.
Okay. Ruth, the school committee have any questions regarding the budget for the Berlin Memorial? Before we move on to the... No? Okay. You know where to find me if you do. Unfortunately, this is kind of conversation between the Finance Committee and myself, and you've heard it, you know, Ruth and Chris have heard it last night. I'm just going to hit the highlights, not go into the in-depth presentation I did last night. The budget for request for Tahanto at this point, again, like Berlin Memorial, there's no COLAs built into this, steps, lanes, any contractual obligations. Expenses are for next year proposed is $7,791,000 compared to $7,466,000. Represents $324,000 increase or 4.33%. The big dollars are in two areas: the instructional, $88,000 increase in salaries. That's basically steps, lanes, and longevity. And then we had an increase, reallocated the time from the curriculum grant coordinator. She was 40% at both elementaries, 20% at Tahanto, and she's being reallocated from the elementaries to Tahanto at 50% and 25-25 at the elementaries, like the rest of the central office. So that's a $31,700 increase to that line item. Then the other area there is the ELE teacher we have at Tahanto, $12,000. We had a Title I grant that Tahanto doesn't qualify for, so that individual, the part of her funding out of the grant is now having to be reabsorbed within the budget. And then the other major area for the cost increase is the fixed cost, which is our health insurance area. We've estimated currently, based on talking to the insurance company, a 10% increase. The other part of that is for the FY11 budget, we have funded the cafeteria folks out of their revolving fund, but that's kind of a one-shot deal. You don't have the funds in that fund to do it multiple years. It's kind of a, second page, school revenues. $2 million, $2,034,000 for FY12, down from $2,334,000 in FY11. It's a $300,000 reduction, which is a significant impact to us. A little deceptive is school choice is down $225,000, but you'll see that E&D we've applied or are proposing to apply $225,000. Something funky the Department of Revenue did to us. We were able to not spend all the school choice money last year, and for some reason they had us put it into the E&D rather than put it back to the school choice. So we're voting it out of the E&D instead of applying from the school choice, but if you add both of those numbers together, it equals the school choice amount that we applied in FY11. The other hit in revenues that we didn't anticipate or see coming was this charter school reimbursement, which hit us. We had $307,000 in revenues in FY11, We're only getting 124, slightly less than 125 FY12. It's a $182,000 drop. And you couple that with the fact that charter school tuitions are going up $26,000, that's like a $200,000 swing to the Tohoto budget. And choice and charter tuitions, we pay $706,000 for kids going out in 11, and we're paying $733,000 going out in FY12. So that's a number. That's, I think, for charter, it's 43 kids going to charter schools. Significant, particularly when you lose the reimbursement from the state. That had a significant unanticipated impact. And the federal stimulus money, that $40,000 is because this is the last year for the president's federal stimulus funding. And then town assessments, goal was to level fund that. We were able to do that with Boylston, but again, Berlin is going up, $179,000. Two factors, same two factors as impacted it last year. The fact that the minimum contribution and foundation enrollment numbers for Berlin have gone up, Boylston's have gone down, and the enrollment numbers that we use to calculate the assessments, Boylston's have gone down and Berlin's gone up. So both of those factors work to shift the assessment burden more to Berlin, less to Boylston. As kind of a point of information, did an analysis of the October 1 enrollments, and in 2009, Berlin represented slightly over 31%. In 10, it was 33.9, 11 was 36, and in 12 it's 38.9. So you've been climbing steadily as a percentage of total enrollment at Tohoto, and conversely, Boylston's been going down. So that causes the assessment to shift more to Berlin. And then the foundation numbers, looking at FY 10, 11, and 12, the numbers of enrollment, Berlin went up 30 students, Boylston went down 40 students. And the foundation is the basis that the state uses to determine your Chapter 70 and your minimum requirement for the community. So again, that's shifting more to Berlin and less to Boylston. So both of those factors is kind of what's causing the Berlin assessment to go up, whereas we can maintain Boylston at a level funding. So at this point here, what we did is the goal, again, keeping Boylston level and doing the assessment calculation that gave us what the Berlin number would be in relation to Boylston. The budget for Tohoto at this point is roughly $45,000 out of balance, in the hole, you might say. We have available some grant funding, rural schools, ed jobs. So if we were to apply that 100%, will bring us down to a $370,000 deficit. So still a pretty good hole at that point that we have to work on. So we still have plenty of work to do in that regard. But this is kind of like where we stand. And as with Berlin Memorial, you have the detailed sheets that give you the increase, decreases by the categories and the major changes. Not going to go over them with you, they're there. I've also given you the assessment calculation that shows how we calculated the assessment for you for the operating assessment, how we come up with that. I gave you the foundation minimum contribution and numbers from the state, as well as the enrollment numbers of October 1, so you can see the basis for the calculation. I've also given you the analysis of the foundation enrollment, the historical that I put together, as well as the enrollment numbers for the assessments to kind of show you the trend. The other component that's kind of new for this year is the apportionment of capital costs for the Tohoto construction project. For FY12, the debt service is $1,365,112. Berlin is 33.07%, Boylston 66.93%. Allocating that to both communities, Berlin's $451,442.7, Boylston $913,669.8. From that, we received bond premiums which we can use to offset the capital assessments. And we have to amortize that over the life of the bond. And so we've allocated the next year's portion that you see on that worksheet to both communities. So the net capital assessment for Berlin is $445,564.62, and $901,773.22 for Boylston. I gave you the percentages and how they calculated, as well as the premium allocation, so you can have that information. That kind of wraps up the Tohoto numbers at this point from a quick highlight perspective.
Yeah, you mentioned assumes 0% COLA.
Yes.
Where are you with the contract negotiations with Tohoto? Are you under a contract yet?
No. Still being negotiated.
Still being negotiated.
Still being negotiated.
Okay. We're just doing the rough calculations here, looking at the budgets we've received. Now we have your budgets, a total increase, at least at this time, it's at the high number, is $398,000 for BMS and Tohoto combined, which actually puts our initial analysis with our budget would put us at about a $300,000 deficit overall for funding. So that's where we stand right at the moment with other departments and requests and stuff like that, and yours added in. So we'll have some ways to go on this.
Both of us have a ways to go yet. I mean, you know, the numbers reflected in Tohoto represent the governor's numbers, which we all know is the first salvo in the state's calculation. We're hoping that, you know, there'll be some good news somehow coming out of there. What it may or may not be, I know there's a proposal of giving more money for circuit breaker reimbursement from the governor. That's not reflected in here because obviously it's, you know, I'm more interested in what the legislators are looking to do rather than the governor. The governor's numbers are here because that's the only numbers we have at this point. So at least to give us kind of a benchmark as to where we stand and where we got to go, utilize those numbers. But I agree with you. We both have a lot of work yet to do. And there are a lot of still unknowns and estimates that need to be tightened up and reviewed and looked at.
We're all set then.
Okay.
Thank you
Thanks.
very much.
Thank you for coming. Thank you, John.
Thanks.
So we'll go back to kindergarten. I guess it definitely gave me a chance to kind of think. Not that I was daydreaming or anything, John. I was paying attention. But I did hear the Tohoto stuff last night, so anyways.
It's so exciting, you know, information.
And particularly with your voice.
Everybody wake up now.
Keeps me awake at night.
After going over budgets and seeing all these numbers, and I hate to even ask this question, but then Kim's left so I can ask. With 40 students, would it, and I know that Berlin has always been so careful about class size. I'm going to ask the question anyways. 40 students, would we ever consider a 2 full day, 1 half day, or would that defeat the purpose of what you're trying to do? I know it would probably be expensive. John's probably going to shoot darts at me here.
He tells me no for everything, so I might say that.
Somebody's got to.
I guess I do see it. I do understand wanting the option to a certain extent. I don't know, you guys can chime in here. I guess the hard part with all of this is you're not going to please everybody. It's just not going to happen. I'm looking at all this communication that we received, which is absolutely wonderful. If I take liberty of reading something from Janet Lammy, she said, "My older child, however, attended a private kindergarten. At the time, I thought it was in the best interest. However, now looking back, she said she feels she made a big mistake," and I believe that was half day. Is that correct? Please think of the children who wrote on pleasure. My son, he's all just doing fine in first grade, very comfortable school. Because he was in the full-day kindergarten. Her older child she put in a private. She's not here tonight, is she? No. Her older child she put in a private kindergarten because she thought she wanted to be half-day, and she felt she had a big mistake. So I guess being a mom, I'm a mom. I have 3 of them. One of them is going to be turning 23. So I just look at how your kids are very different, but even within my family, how different my kids are. I have one that was born in the middle of the year, one that was born older but is a male. So he's older. I'm really glad that he's old for his grade. He's old in his grade. So I think that's an advantage, especially for a boy. And then my youngest daughter, who's born very young, I wish I would have held her back. So I can see disparities right within my own family and my own choices in trying to make this decision. I'm wrenching with it,
Yes.
to be honest with you. Any chime in here, ladies?
Well, why can't we do both? Why can't we please everyone? Why can't we do
Well-
both and do it well? Why don't we?
It's money.
Because I don't think that children should have to pay for public school. I think that's terrible, that perhaps some children need a full day and it's not affordable due to financial reasons. But I also understand parents' needs, the differences in children, focusing on what they need to be successful. So I think we can do both, and I think we can do it well. I have so much confidence in our teachers and our administration at Berlin Memorial. I think that you do a wonderful job. You have me so excited and enthusiastic, and you almost made me cry tonight. So I think we can do both, and I think we can do it well. And I have a lot of confidence in the administration and the teachers there.
I'd say the only logistic problem with that is you probably would really need to have 2 full day to really, maybe I'm wrong, you'd need 2 full day sessions and another half a day because of the census of, maybe I'm wrong.
I
don't know.
I'm thinking that the 2 full days will be enough, but as you're speaking about this too, I guess what I keep thinking is, I think, Nikki, what you're getting to is, if we open it all up as the opportunity for 2 full days, there's still the option for folks to to have a half-day program for their child. If we make one full free and the other we keep as half, we're narrowing that for all of the other children who have who want that opportunity for the full day as well. Does that make sense? So if we open it up to 2 full day, free full day, everybody benefits. We fill it with children who want the full day, or families who want the full day program, and families hopefully that just want the half day and are willing to come in for that half day period of time.
I just want to make sure that we do it well, and I want all kids to feel included.
I think, I believe in my teachers 110%. I know that they will do everything to make that happen for the children who choose a half day. I don't want to penalize anybody for that decision and be disrespectful to those folks. Again, that I said, I just want to give the best for all of the children. Think about the most that we can get to. That's really what it's about for us, I think.
And I guess what I was trying to say, I think we all have to make our own decisions as far as our family goes, as far as each of our children go, whether you hold them back, whether you put them in, how old they are, how much sleep they want. And I just think because they're at this age, it's just, there's just, the differences are so much wider. So I don't know if either one of you are interested in making a motion. I guess I am leaning toward supporting the administration in the recommendation of the full-day programs. And I understand that's not for everybody, but I have an extreme amount of confidence in these 2 teachers of what they are willing to provide, and bending over backwards to accommodate our students. I guess that's the faith that I have in our administration and our teachers. Chris?
I just want to say that after, over the years, I noticed that Berlin is a little different from a lot of communities where people move to the community because they want to spend time at home with their children. There's been a lot more stay-at-home moms, and maybe not so many as there were when my kids were little. But, and I think the school committee over the years has tried really hard to do their best to please all parties. And I think I'm with the both of you in the fact that I think that, I would make a motion to support the free full-day kindergarten, and I would ask that the administration work on, if it's decided there will only be 2 full-day classes, that they work on some kind of a program, comprehensive type program that would address kids that, would be going for half of the full day.
And I would be so excited to bring more children in. We don't know what, tomorrow's our informational night. We'll get to see how many folks turn out, and then our registration is the beginning of March, so we'll certainly have a better sense once that March date rolls around of how many. I mean, we may be getting more, so I don't know. I mean, it could be more the better.
You could have 4 to 6 move-ins over the summer.
Absolutely.
And then you may end up having to do a half-day program also. Who knows?
Who knows? Because that's what we might be able to only afford at that. We might not know the way we're going.
Right. But
with that.
if you could keep us posted with the numbers
Yeah.
as you find out, because it would be something that would affect the budget.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Oh, I know. Would
And,
affect, yeah, and it certainly would, yeah.
Is it okay to ask a question? Just a quick question. If you vote on this, are you going to advertise, or tomorrow night, are you going to announce that there is a half-day option so that everyone knows, so that people don't assume that they have to do full day?
I'm going to talk to you about pretty much what we talked about here as the
Okay.
options, depending on how the school committee votes tonight. I'm going to share what they voted on, so it would be presented as 2 full days. However, if you choose to make it a half-day for your child, then that's certainly an option that you have, and we'll respect that decision. So I'm not going to, I absolutely will say that out there. Because I think regardless, all families should know that. I mean, whether you go here or any place else in the state, it's at this point, that is still absolutely an option for parents. I don't think that's presented always to folks, but we're being honest in saying it most certainly is, because kindergarten is not mandatory. That, as I said, it probably is going to change. It's expected to in a few years, but.
Just one more thing I was going to add, Ruth, is I've heard over the years a lot of kids and their families have chosen to go elsewhere because they couldn't count on having full-day kindergarten because of the numbers.
Many years.
And I
we've
don't
lost
want to
people.
hear, I don't like hearing that. I also don't like hearing that I'm going to have to go outside the district
To get something
because
else.
I'd like half-day and we can't, or aren't going to consider, offering something that will work for them. So I don't like hearing either of those scenarios, and I hope
totally
that this
agree.
would address both ends of that issue.
But if I had the choice to go to another town and get a complete package, like my son had with Rachel last year, I would choose that over, well, you can take your child home, but they're going to miss some things.
Well, that's why I'm asking that they do work on
Comprehensive
some kind of
program.
organization so that they can help address kids that will possibly not want to stay for the whole day.
And is that something you could come and update us on to let us know how you've structured the day so that these children, the half-day students, have this inclusiveness and feel a part of the program and are getting, all of the educational benefits that
only
they.
part, again, I want us to be cautious about, and I know Gina just meant that it's the full educational package. They're not. That's the reality of the half-day program. Now, it feels like that because you're getting pieces of each content area, but it's not the full package. I think what Rachel was trying to show in the PowerPoint was certainly even a portion of what the children are missing. It's a fallacy to think that is the full package, because she's cutting out portions, and sometimes large portions of content areas, because you cannot possibly fit it in during that time.
I think we understand, though,
Okay,
that
as long as
they
you-
have that half-day,
Yeah.
they're going to miss
Structure
out.
of the schedule.
the structure of the
Right.
schedule. That's what
I
I'm
just want to
talking
make sure we're on
about.
the right page.
Yes,
with
yes,
that. Okay.
because I think that there are some parents that, the environmental piece of it, they're taking their children outside all day and they're getting different benefits, that perhaps they'll miss that science piece in the classroom, but maybe they'll get that science piece out of doors and, mucking around in a river or something.
Miss Mass Audubon.
There you go. Environmental science is very important.
Exactly.
I guess the other thing I just wanted to comment really quickly on was, I don't know if you had this in the first presentation, but the part that does appeal to me in the full day, Rachel talks quite quickly, and I'm sure she can get a lot in a day, but if we could just.
She talks so quickly, she's trying.
But I'm just
Go,
thinking
go,
if we
go.
could slow her down a little bit and she could be a little more relaxed. I just think that I'm just giving you a hard time. I'm just thinking something that would appeal to me with my child, if I did put them in a full-day program, was that ability to say, how's it going? Just that ability to step back and make it more restful or less rushed or less, okay, hurry up, get your work done, come on, eat your snack, come on. And I can understand that because you're trying so hard to give them everything that you want to provide for them. I guess that's a really positive that I saw. And maybe it wasn't last presentation, but I at least picked it up this time, and that gives me a lot of confidence that, it's not cramming it all in. And I really do appreciate that part, because I think that's a huge benefit.
So you had the full day, you've had the full day presentation last time, and tonight was the half day.
There you go.
Same information. Right.
We love your enthusiasm. So we have a motion on the table.
Okay, so the motion, how did it read?
A motion to support.
Still a question?
I'm
Oops, I'm
sorry.
sorry.
I'm sorry.
Just school choice numbers for kindergarten next year. What numbers are you using in class size?
I don't know yet. It depends on the number we get from Berlin. And this was just a census from Berlin alone, without school choice.
Two classes of 20 says, that's pretty full.
Right.
I think that we would want to lower that number. And I think if you open a
that's
full
right.
kindergarten program, you will get more school choice people in looking for that free babysitting.
I apologize, but I'm incorrect. We do have a potential of three or four.
I think there's 3 or 4 school choice students included
In that number.
40.
Okay, because there are
Because of
siblings.
Yes.
Okay.
But we have not approved any new school choice to obviously, we haven't gone over that.
No.
No, we haven't.
So,
And I think we tend to look at the number before adding any more anyway.
yeah, we
Yeah.
wouldn't.
20 is quite a large number
Yeah.
for
For
kindergarten.
a kindergarten class, yeah.
So I think we would tend, I'm not guessing,
yeah.
but I would tend that we wouldn't add any more except the siblings, which we try to make sure that there's space. We don't have a policy to accept them, but we've done a good job of being able
We
to
try to be
accept them.
conservative about it.
With the numbers, if we could get the numbers, if we had a lot of people, this generated a lot of interest, maybe it would allow, with the money coming in
Maybe you
from
can
a
let us know
district.
how it goes
Yeah.
tomorrow night and
Yeah,
let us
yeah,
know
we're
what
really-
What the interest is.
Really
Yeah.
excited, like with the anticipation about how many folks we're going to get
Mhm.
either tomorrow night or through the registration process,
Mhm.
so.
Okay. Are we all set now? Okay, could you read the?
Motion to support free full-day kindergarten and to ask administration to work on a comprehensive program to address half-day students.
Are you comfortable with that, Carol?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
Do I hear?
No.
Does the comprehensive program just include academics? Are they saying that they want you to include math, language, writing, all of that in the morning?
I think we would
Is that
give
what
that
you're
to the
asking?
administration
Mhm.
to best address it.
Mhm.
Again, it sounds like we talk,
I think
it
the
sounds
road-
like we're
that's
not
what I was
only
gonna say.
doing math in the morning, we're not only,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Yeah, I
mean,
think you're right, that's my understanding of.
That's that,
Mhm.
and that's
Yeah.
what the committee is.
So not necessarily would they get math every day in the morning.
Right.
It could be taught sometimes in the afternoon. I just wanted to be
Right.
clear what comprehensive really,
Mhm.
what were they thinking that meant? And what about art, music, gym? Like, what does comprehensive mean, is what I'm asking, I guess.
Yeah, I hesitated with that word, but.
Well, you're just asking the administration
Right.
and teachers,
Mhm.
and I do have a great deal of respect for Rachel and Jill, and I hear in Rachel, who is the halftime teacher, her frustration with how much more she could do and how much more she knows her children could do. And if you just take the number alone and you look at 17 and a half more hours of time that they could grow in her setting, if they were in a full-day program. And I understand the parents who would like the half-day program, but then when I hear you say you want a comprehensive, or the administration to
Well,
look
maybe there's
at
a better
teachers,
word.
what does that mean? Seems like there's an area, I'm not sure what that area is that you're looking at, because I'm not sure, I want
The source?
everybody.
Not everything but at the source.
Are you saying it's okay if they sometimes have math in the afternoon? Is it okay?
I think
if
what
they
it's
have
gonna, I
art?
think what's gonna happen is that they're going to have to come up with some kind of a way of addressing children that are gonna be leaving at halfway through the day. And I trust they're gonna do their very best, and I think that then, when that is shown to maybe the parents of the children who wanna take the children out at half-day, then that's when the decision of the parent's gonna have to come in. I think, I trust that you'll do your best
Right.
to accommodate. I don't know whether you wanna call it comprehensive, but with the hours that a half-day student goes, to do the best that you can. You know, it could be that we end up with another 6 or 8 or 10 kids, and we'll end up having maybe an additional half-day program, who knows? But we have to cross that bridge when we come. That's why we're addressing it this way, I think, right now.
But with that comprehensive, I have the expectation that the half-day students will get at some point a music class in the morning with the rotating schedule, with, have math, have science, so it'd be, they are touching and getting all of these
Right.
subjects as
So that
well.
it's not a fixed schedule such that math is always in the afternoon. Right.
The special will be difficult to do that flexibility of rotating them, making sure that they get music. The way that our specials are scheduled, it's all year, you're at music at this time, or you're at gym at this time. So it would be really difficult if you had an
But they do
afternoon
it now,
special.
so Rachel's class, so it's possible.
They have 30
They-
minutes, it's cut down, that's the
Oh, the
thing.
time is less.
It's a shortened time, and when they fit it in, they would go into a pool now with everybody as far as sharing.
Could the
that
children stay
time.
half hour longer and make this easier? Till 12, or, I'm just putting it out there, that extra half hour might make a difference.
It wouldn't be a bus, right? Wouldn't you be free to take the children home at any time you wanted?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Maybe
I
just
think
some
that's would be a great
brainstorming.
idea, yeah.
I guess the only thing that, and I think you had brought this to light with me too, to think about is, if that was gonna happen, we'd have to do, it'd have to be an everyday, consistent kind of time. In other words, it couldn't be like on Monday we pull, it's skipped.
Right.
through,
But if we
like
make
Monday
it-
it's 11 and
Yeah.
Tuesday it's
But if we
1
went with a
and-
consistent time of extending the day, I think that would be a really good,
But then you could have one child leaving at noon and one child leaving at 1:30 and one child.
well, no, but we set it, or you set a time that
All children.
all children for the half-day program leave at noon. I'm not sure what time they're leaving now, or 12:30 or whatever.
Is there any financial ramifications of that? I can't think.
Not if there's no bus.
That would be
There's no bus.
contractual thing too.
Would it? You would know better.
Right, if they're there the full day?
Right.
Even
But
if
they're already there the full day,
would that
would
be?
that matter?
They would just be teaching less students in the afternoon, because they're already there for the,
Well, but you're talking about them being hired full-time.
Oh, yeah, okay,
And then-
good, yeah. They'd be full-time.
I'm not gonna say
I'm just gonna
it's
take the
best.
word
But-
comprehensive out, I
I
think.
don't wanna get in trouble.
Yeah, so reread that now, just leave out comprehensive, and
Okay,
let's see how that
a
sounds.
a motion to support free full-day kindergarten and to ask administration to work on a program to address half-day students.
to ensure the administration? Or
And to ask, well,
And to ensure that,
request, to request.
mhm.
How's that? Does that sound better?
And with that, they can then, the administration can make the decision if you want to make it at noontime or,
Yeah, that would be up to them.
yeah.
Yeah, it looks like I need to address that with them.
You know, and it'd be great if you
PTA,
could come
yeah.
back at some point after some decisions are made and let us know how it's going.
I think I misspoke about the contract.
Okay.
My mind.
Could we have you read the motion one more time, Eileen, please? Sorry.
That's okay. A motion to support free full-day kindergarten and to request administration to work on a program to address half-day students.
Comfortable with that? Okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Have a vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimously passes. I'm sorry, Bill, did you have a?
No, just
Gotcha. Okay.
And I want to commend the two of you. You've done a great job with the presentation. And
Thank you.
I know you're doing a great job with the kids, too.
Thank you.
And I would also say that the communications that I've got, I think I've been on the committee now for 6 years, I'm like, this was amazing. Makes me proud to be a Berlin parent and just how much you guys really care about your schools. It was great to hear from you, and it's nice to know how important it is. So we appreciate that.
And I hope it all will work for all of you.
Yes, I hope so. I hope so. It is a challenging thought process.
Decision, yeah.
Okay, so we are going to go back to the reports in the agenda, and I believe Jill is here for a CPAC report.
Right up to date. Our next regular meeting will be next Tuesday. We moved it up because our regular fourth Tuesday is during vacation. So we're going to meet next Tuesday, and we're very excited because we have Gina Valancourt presenting our annual parents' rights presentation. So if Jill wants to come with the camera, Julie loves it.
Thank you, Jill.
Bill, you're busy. We're looking forward to that. That's Tuesday at 7 o'clock at Tohoto. Then we have 2 upcoming presentations. First one is in March 22nd. We are having the Federation for Children with Special Needs come and do a workshop on understanding my child's learning style. This workshop will delve into different learning styles and show how they can be understood and harnessed to achieve success in many different environments, including the classroom. So we're looking forward to that. And then in April, on April 4th, we have Carla Binswanger of Organize for Kids come, and she's going to present a workshop on to help parents organize all the paperwork that can come with having a special ed child.
And we had to report the Tonto meeting last night, and the learning styles is not specific to special ed, correct? I mean,
No, I
it's,
believe
it's all students,
it's, you know,
right?
sponsored by the Federation, but
Correct.
it would encompass all students.
Correct. So encourage parents to attend that. Can you give me that date again?
It is Tuesday, March 22nd, 7 o'clock at Tohoto, and it's open to the public. Everybody's welcome.
Thank you, Jill. Okay, Carol, did you have anything else?
We've heard enough from you.
Okay, and John has given us the finance report. Were you given any information on the public forum except for
Yes,
the?
on the
Okay.
superintendent's report also. Before I get into that, I would just want to request the school committee to accept Mass General Law, Chapter 71, Section 71F, for non-resident student tuitions, so that we can set aside that money to support that program.
This revolving fund thing?
Yes.
Okay. I make a motion to
What he said.
follow Mass General Law, whatever he said.
To accept it.
To accept it.
Yep.
Mass General Law, I'm sorry.
Chapter 71, Section 71F, non-resident student tuitions.
This isn't something that has to go to a town meeting, is it?
No, it's actually on the chart here, it says town meeting is no, just local acceptance, which is you folks.
Okay.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second
All right, we'll vote. All those in favor?
it. Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously.
Thank you. In terms of the public forum on March 1st, it'll be at Tohoto at 7 o'clock, right after the PTO meeting, correct?
Correct.
What public forum?
Default.
Go ahead.
There was a public forum previously on the structure of the districts. This is a continuation to that forum format. The subjects that I believe Dr. McDermott is looking to present have to do with the district finances and student achievement.
Is this the second and last?
I believe that originally it was 3, they were tending on 3, but he feels that he can combine and get finance and student achievement within one forum.
Okay.
And we also talked about last night, I believe it will be an open school committee meeting so that there can be conversation from the school committee to the audience. Is that correct?
Well, I mean, we're still going to go by these guidelines.
Oh, correct. But I'm just saying, we didn't say anything the last time. It was definitely just a
right
informational forum.
A regional school. This is
Correct.
a regional school committee forum. Correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Well, is it a region or is it a district? Like
Union.
district, union?
It's district.
I mean, basically, it's
District?
It's all three.
It's all three.
Berlin, Boylston
Yeah.
School
It's
System.
a system.
Okay.
Can I ask a question about, are we at the forum part?
Yes.
Okay. John, could you ask can Brian send his PowerPoint, whatever he's going to do, to the school committee?
Sure, I can ask him to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of nice to know ahead of time what he's going to talk about.
I will do that.
Thank you.
We're talking about the calendar?
Yep. You have the draft of the calendar, as you did with the Tohoto calendar last night. It's kind of viewed as a first read. At this point here, August 29th is a PD day. August 30th is the staff opening day, and August 31st will be the first day for students. The school vacations have been set on the calendar. April 6th is a half day, because that's Good Friday, so that's going to be a half day. So the calendar's been set on this. He's looking for kind of like a preliminary adoption or confirmation it's okay, because he'd like to do as with the Tohoto calendar, send it out to the principals, parents, other community interest groups to review the calendar. It's pretty much, I think Carol might know better than I, what the calendar is for this school year.
Okay. Now we did.
Without the dates yet for the half-days for the teachers, the early release.
I don't have any.
Are they listed on there? I'm
They are
sorry.
listed on here.
I think it may just be a case of they're listed based on this year and,
I didn't see any of that.
yeah. Well, that's what he wants to do, get this out so he can get it out to the folks to review. I think they're here based on this year, but still subject to discussion and negotiation or.
I think the difference right now is that we had agreed for this calendar year on 186 days with the, and then it was going to go back to 187.
This has 187.
Right,
Yeah.
go back to 187. We
And
were
student days was 180 this year, going back to 181.
Right, that was prior to us thinking that we were going to begin negotiations, which we haven't done. So,
This is, I think
We-
this is, okay, go ahead.
I mean, I don't know if any of that will change when we
Okay.
begin the process or not, but for right now, I guess we had agreed with our memorandum of agreement that it would be 186 for this calendar year, go back to 187.
Mhm.
But we haven't negotiated for this year, which we normally have already done.
Right.
So that's where it leaves a little area.
Okay. I think this is just preliminary. We want.
Exactly.
It's
Just
not
so
really a
that.
vote. It's just basically this is, we're okay
Yeah.
with you guys making comments
Yeah, to
throughout
send it
the
out.
system.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I think we're all comfortable. Are you comfortable with that?
We had some discussion last night about the, what was it, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving and Good Friday, I think, is he going to go ahead and ask for feedback on
I
those
think in
two?
terms of the questions that the administration would like to put out, one that came up was whether or not the day before Thanksgiving should be a full day off.
Full day off or full day on or something?
Yeah, rather than a half a day.
Right.
So that question is just gonna be put out there. There's several questions I came up with last night, just to get feedback and see what interest there may or may not be with certain proposals.
Keeping in mind that, we've got so many snow days this year.
We're done with all of those.
When we had the suggestion last night from one of the regional school committee members to start after Labor Day, we all said, "Oh, come on." But we do have tough years sometimes with snow, and this is one of them.
Okay. So I think we're all comfortable with moving on with that.
Okay.
Which brings us to the other business items of the bullying policy.
Can I just update you on the coordinated program review?
Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? I'm looking at the old agenda and that's not on there. And I did see it. I apologize.
I just wanted to, as we get closer to our site visit from the Department of Education, just let folks know what the process will be. We will have a 3-person team come in and review special education, English language learner education, and our civil rights policies and procedures. There'll be a press release that will be issued next week announcing the visit and announcing the chair's name and telephone number if you are interested in speaking with the chair. We've submitted copious amounts of documentation to the Department of Elementary and Secondary Ed as of January 18th. The chairperson will be sending out parent surveys to 25 families in Berlin who have a child with special needs, and they'll be sending out surveys to a random sampling of families who have a second language learner. They will come for a 2-day visit, February 28th, March 1st, at which time they'll just do a comprehensive record review of about, I can't remember how many records we have, I don't know, close to 40 special records for special needs students, and they'll look at our records for second language learners as well. Then on Monday, the leadership team will be talking about the most effective way to communicate with each building's faculty around the process and describing the process and describing the information that they'll be looking for. And then they'll come for their site visit on March 14th and stay through March 18th. So they're here for 5 days. They'll be going out to the building, interviewing administration, interviewing some selected general education teachers. If you are selected to be interviewed, you will get a letter. I will be sending you a letter from our chairperson letting you know what the interview is like. Interviewing selected special education teachers, related service providers, team chair people, paras, not everyone clearly, but they will probably spend a day in each building. And they'll interview the co-presidents of the CPAC. They'll do their thing here in district all week, and then we'll have an exit interview. The superintendent and I will have an exit interview. They'll talk about some of their initial findings, and within 45 business days of that exit interview, they'll issue a draft report that they'll send to us to vet for accuracy. And then a final report will come within 60 days, and then I think we have 20 business days if they find us. If there are any findings, we have 20 business days to produce a corrective action plan. And then we will have to issue progress reports. Preliminary look at our the areas that I prepared, ESL and special education, I think we'll find a significant improvement from 6 years ago. Would I like it to be 100%? Yes. Will I promise that? No. But I think that clearly there'll be a significant improvement. So hopefully if you receive a survey, you'll take a few minutes and fill it out and send it back. Your input is an important part of the process as parents.
Thank you.
Move on to the bullying.
Sure.
So, as you may recall, quite some time ago, we had a discussion around the initial presentation of a bullying policy, and it was actually a very, very helpful conversation because I left here, went back and reread the policy, and felt that there was some ambiguity. And we had a conversation about that the Wellness Committee's intention was really to look at student bullying. That was their charter, and that was our charter from the state. And we agreed that looking at the issue of bullying and harassment for adults is very important and needs to be done. But that policy we gave to you for vetting, we really wanted it to reflect student policy. And so I looked at the language and I tweaked it to make it clearer. I brought it back to the Wellness Committee and they tweaked it a little bit more. And so what you have in your packet, and it's dated draft January 13th, is a result of just some wording clarifications that made it very clear that this particular bullying policy, cyberbullying policy, is for students and will appear in the student-related section of the policy manual. And so it's coming back to you because you had approved the last policy contingent upon the other committees approving it as well. And so the region, thus far, the region is the only one that has approved this revised policy. We're bringing it to you tonight, and then we'll bring it to Boylston next week.
And so essentially, it hasn't changed.
First paragraph was changed. I believe that's where it was a little bit unclear. We went from everyone to students within the same paragraph. So we changed the first policy, the first paragraph, and then we took out reference to workplace. And you can see there's a cross out on the third paragraph. I had removed one reference to workplace, and when I brought it to the committee, they said, it's still there. So we're crossing that second reference to workplace, and those were the main changes. Everything else is the same.
Well, I didn't have a problem with it dealing with children. My issue that I brought up was that we need a policy for adults too.
Right.
School community, and it's adults too.
Mhm.
And that I'd really like to, I don't know what your time frame is, but it'd be great if you could come back like next month or as soon as possible with something for adults.
I'll relate that to Brian as well, because that's when he and I discussed, is that we would do that very thing.
Because the issue wasn't with this policy at all. It was basically that we need something to cover the school community, which also includes adults.
It is good to separate.
That's
the
fine.
two.
I didn't care whether it was separated together or whatever. I just think it needs to be addressed.
Yeah, you were clear on that.
So this is fine.
Okay. So I'll ask you if you would.
Do I hear a motion to accept the cyberbullying policy for students?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. And in preparing for the DEIS visit, I went back to the policy manual. I'm becoming quite familiar with it. And realized that our policies for relating to English language learners were outdated. And so what you have in your packet is a first read proposal for a current policy based on current regulations using current definitions, current language, current directions from the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. And so I'll ask you to take the first read, and then if we could bring this back next month for your approval, then we can have it signed, sealed, and delivered in time for our visit. And hopefully, they will say that it's fine. I hope it is.
If we have some kind of feedback, shall we email you?
Sure.
And then,
Sure.
if you think it's something important enough to change before
Absolutely.
we have the read,
Yep.
or the final read next
Sure.
meeting, that would be great.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, do we have any other, we all set with the administration? Any other public comments? Okay, hearing none. We need to, any school committee?
What time is the information that,
6:30 to 7:30 tomorrow
6:30 to
evening.
7:30? I think we can make it, I might try and stop by.
And I guess this audience might be interested in the information you received for the MASC, that you contacted Glenn.
Oh, yep, I spoke with Glenn Kuchar from Florida, day before yesterday, when I was down in Florida. And he, actually, I emailed him this morning to let him know that February 26th, which is a Saturday, that the school committee members may be able to have a working session with him if he's available. And, I'm glad you brought this up. He did email me back very quickly and said that he may need some contact information for you and Larry and Brad.
Okay.
And if it's okay, I will just send him your email or phone number.
It's fine with me.
Okay. And I will do the same with Larry and Brad.
Okay.
At least emails. To talk about, what you all want included in this. He didn't give me an answer as far as time, but he said that that particular day was a good day for him.
Have you communicated with him what, is it going to be anything you want on the agenda, or just what the chairs?
I did tell him my concerns,
Okay.
but he wants to make sure that,
Okay.
we're covering all the bases, so.
Okay.
I will give him your contact information too, and Larry's and Brad's, and if he, I'm sure he'll probably get in contact with you.
Okay, great.
So, in case anyone was wondering,
Okay.
we'll most likely have a working session on February 26th, and it will be a posted meeting.
Okay. All right. Do we have a list of future agenda items? I have the policy for ELL. Do you have anything else?
The bullying policy for the adults in the school community.
Thank you. That's it? Okay. All right, I do not believe we have need for executive session, so I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved?
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.